What's your first memory or recollection of Cove Springs?
I'd say being in the course. I like that a lot.
Good. Good.
And my buddy who passed away, Tom Fulton, I sat with him and Bob a lot, Jeannie and I. And he kind of helped drive me over to this church. We had a lot of fun together all the years that we grew up.
Good.
Oh, so how long have you been attending Cove Springs then?
I think about 8 years.
Do you have a favorite memory or highlight that, other than the choir, here at Cove Springs?
Yeah, one of the biggest times I like is putting up the Christmas tree here. When we all bond together to put it up. We have a good time. A lot of people help. A lot of high school kids even help. So, yeah, that's the best thing I like.
That's the best thing you like. Good.
Yeah.
Why do you consider Cove Springs now your church home overall? Maybe the other options you would have had.
Going to different churches?
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely like the pastor. There's no question about it. He's down to earth. You can understand what he's saying. So I'd say definitely the pastor.
Is there anything else you'd like to make comments about?
Only I think we got a great course.
Yeah, we've been blessed. That's
Yes, we
definitely
have.
right. Yes. Yeah.
What's your first memory or recollection of Cove Springs?
When I was a little kid, when we moved out from town, and that would be in 1941. We moved out in 1940, but we were trying to go to our church in Troy, the Congregational Church, and Dad and Mother wanted to still go there because that's where we've always gone, you know, but it was just too hard to get the milking done and get cleaned up and get in Troy in good time. And our neighbor was Irvin Trossel, and Dad was telling Irvin, boy, it was getting, it was hard. And he said, well, Herbert, why don't you come to Cove Spring? He said, it's a nice little church. And he said, most of her neighbors go there. So he said, why don't you do that? And so we started coming to Cove. But for a few years, a couple years, we didn't stay for Sunday school. We just came to church and went home. And so it was a couple years before I started going to Sunday school. And my gosh, two of my classmates in school were in my class, you know, Martha Ginn and Rosemary Brown, and the Trossel boys, you know, Lowell and Don and Nelson and Jeanette Rose and, let's see, Roberta. Do you remember Lowell Trossel's younger sister, Roberta?
Yeah.
Okay. She was there, and so then that's when we started getting involved.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
How many years then have you attended Cove Springs then?
Well, we were away to Michigan and Tennessee for about 10 years. When we came back, we would come back to the Cove Spring.
Yeah. What do you consider your favorite memory or highlight or experiences here at Cove Springs?
Oh. Well, the highlight was when we were able to move into the new church. You know, that was the first time we had church service in the church after the old church burnt down. You know, and the older church, it was dark wood, and as a child, it just seemed kind of dark to me, and the Reverend Shaletti was the pastor, the minister at that time, and he was the kind of minister that would get loud, you know, and pound the pulpit, and I didn't care for that. He kind of scared me, and one Sunday we were on our way home, and I was standing on the hump. Do you remember when the cars used to have a hump in the back, I bet you don't, in the
Yeah,
floor.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
With that thing that goes through,
Drive shaft.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
I was
there.
so short, I couldn't see out the window, so I would stand on the hump and then look out between Mother and Dad. So we're riding along there, heading for home, and Mom and Dad were talking, and I spoke up, and I said, I don't think I like Reverend Selecti. And Mom said, well, why not? And I said, because he yells, and he hits the pulpit, and I don't like it. And Dad said, oh, Pookie, he said, he's all right. He said, he's just trying to wake up the farmers that are falling asleep. And I didn't believe that. And he said, you watch. So it was the winter time, and it was cold out, And so church was going on, and I'm looking around, and I'm looking at some of the men, and Reverend Selecti goes bang, bang, and there's a few farmers go put their red band. I thought, Dad's right.
That's a great story.
Dad's right.
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Huh? Well, they've been out cold where it was cold, milking cows, and then they rush in there and all packed in there to church together, and it's warm.
That's a good one.
Maybe Greg will have to do that here. Yeah. Because I see a couple of them snoozing everyone.
Well,
even myself.
Sometimes you can't help yourself. Yeah. I have to have caffeine before I come, or no matter how interesting the church service is, I find myself getting sleepy at night, but I'm 90, I suppose that's why.
Why do you consider Cold Spring as your church home when you had other options or something like that? So why do you think this is your home one right here?
Well, I went to several other churches. I guess the reason I feel comfortable in this church home was because, well, to tell you the truth, in the 40s and early 50s, most of the people in our congregation were farmers. We had the same mindset. We were all used to hard work. Our children were disciplined the same way. We just had, you didn't look for excuses. You knew life was hard, and you worked hard, and that was okay. And you go to different churches, and there's these people from different, professions, and it's different here. And I'm glad we've got some new blood in the community. But at that time, you could count on things not changing. Things stayed the same. We all had, if you were farmers, very good and well that you're at the mercy of the weather. And most farmers would pray plenty,
Yeah.
And I thought that probably is the reason some might say that we were set in our ways or didn't want to change. Well, we all lived pretty much the same. And I felt comfortable with that.
Any other memories you can think of that you enjoyed here when you were here at the church that you'd like to talk about?
Well, the only thing, of course, the thing that just thrilled us all was the bathrooms. We didn't have to go to, the bathrooms. And even though they don't seem like much now compared to what we had before, they were really great. The high school boys at Elizabeth, they were kind of disappointed, I think, because I know one Halloween time at school, we all came in on the school buses. They all come in and parked around the front of the school building and the sides. And as the kids started getting off the bus, there was the Cold Spring outhouse right next to the flagpole in front of the school. And some of the kids are laughing and walking around it, and it was so funny, but so they didn't have the outhouse anymore to carry over at Halloween time. And And I guess what I loved about, even though we were a small group, we started out as little kids in Sunday school, and Judy Burt, her mother, Nellie, taught our Sunday school class. And the Lowell and his family and those kids, we all kind of grew up together, and then we were big enough to sing in the choir together, and then we had a youth group, as small as it was, but they got the bright idea to join with other small youth groups from other churches. And I can remember one time as a group we went to Northampton and had fellowship with the youth group there, and that was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was different. And but I don't know, I can't think of, if I had someone if Martha was here or Rosemary here, we could reminisce and bring back a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could.